Welcome everyone. It's really great pleasure to see you and let's say being with you for today. Actually, I spent a lot of time in the last 3 years in the DevOps FinTech Hive in different cohorts. I was the head of FinTech partnerships in MSMBD. I know how excited you are and how it's great to be in this organization and take this opportunity. So without further ado, I want to start our presentation. And please share your questions during this session through the chat. Okay, just a brief introduction about us. So my name is Bootcamp. I'm Senior Digital Transformation Expert for the finance sector. I have 20 years experience in banking, and last 10 years I was in innovation, digital banking, and fintech partnership space. As I mentioned, I was head of fintech engagements in MSMBD, which is one of the biggest banks of UAE. And I'm a DevOps FinTech Hive mentor and an FMA senior advisor.
Gokam, you have to share your slide, please.
Okay. I don't know why it's okay. Isn't that happening? Okay. Okay, just one second.
Yeah.
Gopal, over to you. I think I already did my introduction.
Sure. Thank you and welcome everyone. We hope to add value to what you're looking for over the next half an hour. I've been working with fintechs for the last 18 months, not too long. That's when, Oracle kind of warmed up to fintech, the fintech industry. But I've been in the financial services space for over 21 years. We have collaborated with over 35 plus, which is, and counting fintechs in the Middle East and Africa region for cross-selling you to our enterprise customers, right? We will talk about that in more detail in the session today. Saad, over to you.
Thank you, Gopal, and welcome everyone to today's session. It's an honor to be part of this and see how Oracle can add value to the organizations and the growth that you guys have envisioned for the next couple of years. My name is Mohammed Saad Ansari, and I manage the cloud platform business for Oracle for UAE, specifically focusing on the FSI and professional services segment. I've been working in this region for the last 10 plus years and worked with companies like Microsoft, and I'm well aware of the digital transformation and cloud journeys that companies go through. So in this role, I'll be helping companies like you, specifically fintechs, in going through the cloud journey and helping you embrace and empower you with the Oracle knowledge and the value that Oracle has to offer. So thank you once again, and we'll keep in touch through the rest of the presentation. Over to you, Tarek.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining the session today. My name is Tarek Alaouni. I'm a senior cloud engineer. I've been in the market, in the Middle East market for more than 15 years now, focusing on supporting our customers and their digital transformation journey and their cloud journey. Hopefully, you will enjoy the session today and you will gain the most of the value out of it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned, I was the ex-head of fintech engagements, and it was 2018 when I took over this role. And at that time, it was very hard to really onboard a fintech and bring a value proposition from a fintech to the core banking functionalities. Most of the time, we see them as a part of vendors. And I think pandemic changed a lot of things. Just to quickly highlight what is changed, and I see this change really opens a lot of doors for the fintechs. So before the pandemic, banks were seeing their main channel as the branches. Banks as broken journeys. They build in waterfall, and they want to build in-house rather than partner with a fintech. They see fintechs not different than as a vendor, and they think that government will just work and trust with the banks. And I mean, they don't use cloud, or if they use it just for a very limited scope, maybe just for POCs or some let's say specific things. And after the pandemic, digital becomes the first channel, and now the channels are being integrated. Journeys are being end-to-end digitalized. So they, rather than build in-house, they want to lease as a SaaS model and integrate with fintechs. And they are now seeing fintechs as a partner, which is a big change in mindset. And of course, we see all over the world, governments works with the fintechs, and fintechs response to the government's needs quicker than the banks. And I think one of the key messages for today's session is now cloud is the first and the foremost option for a bank to catch up this ecosystem in this coming years. It is just not my word. If you see, there was just a recent survey. So you see that a lot of the customers want to change their experience with the banks. So they want to be, even after the pandemic, they want to be touchless, they want to be digitally engaged, and most of them, they already experienced the digital channels one way or another. Now I will just over to you, Gopal.
Sure, thanks, Gokul. Now, if you may, have a question as to what does Oracle offer me, right, as a fintech, and or what does Oracle offer me as a partner, in two ways. One, as a cloud provider. Two, as a recurring partner, right? So we want to be with you for the whole journey, in whatever be your business outcome that you have in mind. It could be, I want to penetrate into the South Africa market. I want to penetrate into the Saudi market. A. It could be, I want to penetrate into the large banks that are present in the region. B. Some of your solutions, we have gone through the list, are about invoice discounting, are actually catering to small and medium businesses and merchants. So how do we reach them, right? So these could be some questions that you might have. So apart from providing a solution, we also come in as consultants, without any strings attached. So Oracle, our strength is selling to enterprises, selling to the SMB space, and selling to merchants. So when we understand your solution and your objectives and your go-to-market better, we are here to lend a helping hand on how do we sell to this target market, right, that you have, with the market that overlaps with what Oracle customers in the region are, right? Second is, how do we co-sell with you, right? So it's basically us opening the doors for you, for the customers that we have, wherever our applications don't compete. And we've seen in most cases, we don't compete, and we promise to take horses for courses. So if your solution is better in terms of budget, in terms of the architecture, etc., we are happy to position your solution to our customers and prospects, right? So that's where we kind of look at you as our customer, so not just as a partner. So for Oracle Cloud, you are our customer, not just from a technology and consumption perspective, but also from a joint go-to-market perspective. And if there are specific domain-related questions in terms of flow-based lending, or as I spoke about, invoice discounting, etc. So we have been in the financial services space for quite long. So we deliver such solutions to the large banks in the region. So we could possibly exchange domain-specific knowledge for us to position your solution better to our customers, right? And the last but not the least is what many other cloud providers offer is also put you on our fintech marketplace. But putting it on our marketplace is just step one. How do we make you visible to our customers in the region? So if you look at point 5, we do industry-specific roadshows, specific to Saudi, specific to UAE, specific to Africa, Nigeria. We are doing one in the 3rd week of October. So when we do that, we'll have you as our panel, board members. We'll have you answer some of the questions that the prospects are looking at. So that's going to give you visibility. That's going to give you what we call voice of the customer, what they are actually looking for in the solution to refine your pitch subsequently. Yeah. Thanks. Gautam, next slide, please. Gautam, can you move to the next slide? Right. Now, let me come back to what we were referring to in terms of how Oracle complements your market strategy, right? So fintech is not standalone. I mean, I need not tell this, but just to make it explicit. So Oracle is strong in terms of manufacturing, logistics. Oracle is extremely strong in retail and e-commerce. We have a separate hospitality suite of products. So 98% of five-star hotels in Middle East use Oracle solutions. 76% of the food and beverage outlets use Oracle solutions. Around 64% of SMBs use Oracle's NetSuite, and of course, large enterprises use our ERP and CRM solutions, right? So, how can we unlock this potential to position your fintech solution to our enterprises, right? So if you look at manufacturing and logistics, they are looking for solutions in supply chain finance, in invoice discounting, for insurtech, because there is always insurance involved when goods move from the warehouse to the shipping port, from the port to the exporter, etc. Right? And there's also an ESG play. Everybody in their balance sheet has to show what they have done to reduce the carbon emissions. So if your fintech solution is doing something on the ESG play, how can we position that to our customers, right? So we are here as positioning value add, not necessarily selling the Oracle cloud, right? So we go with the business proposition, and in that process, if the customer is happy, we say, hey, why don't we host this fintech solution from the DAFC Fintech Hive on Oracle Cloud? Similarly, telecom and utilities, right? So you can see Zain Telecom in Saudi, or M-Pesa that's happening in Africa. They are getting into microfinance, they're getting into agri-tech, they're getting into P2P lending. In fact, in Saudi, P2P lending is quite big. And so your solution, I've seen some of the providers are on offer P2P lending, biometrics, etc. So we could kind of cross-sell these to our telecom clients, right? The same applies to retail and e-commerce, where there is account payable and account receivable automation. So if you're offering something related to payables, receivables, we call it employee payroll, early wage access. That's something the banks like Revolut offer. If your solution is catering to that, we could push into those to our enterprise clients. And last but not the least is the hospitality and the banking sector, which I spoke about. I've seen many of your solutions are banking apps for teens, loyalty redemption apps. So we have many enterprise and family office who offer automobile loans in the region. So how can we possibly cross-sell the loyalty redemption solution to an entity like Majid Al Futtaim, right? And how could we have that conversation together? Credit decisioning. This is a major thing in terms of financial inclusion, who are not in the banking realm. So when I see some of the solutions that you offer are in credit decisioning or in RegTech and P2P lending, so all these can be plugged into the white spaces, and we can be honest, Oracle doesn't have a solution in these spaces, right? So we are happy to partner with you, take the horses for courses, and open the doors for the customer conversations in specific markets that you are interested. If you don't have a large sales team and you say, hey, I still need to reach out to some, this customer in Kuwait or in Bahrain, happy to do that along with Fintech Hive, right? So that's the key thing we want you to take away. Gautam, next slide, please. Now coming to the last part of the joint go-to market, right? And where Oracle provides a synergy to fintechs like you. You have done well in a different market, for example, in Latin America. How can you kind of replicate that in the Middle East and Africa region, or how can you better that in this region, right? So as I mentioned, we have a captive group of clients, which are small and medium businesses who use our cloud services and our applications. So if your solution caters to account payables, receivables, or payroll automation, or early wage access, or flow-based lending, based on, because they don't have a balance sheet, they don't have they have cash flow issues. So if you're looking at invoice discounting, flow-based lending, and we could offer the integration with the NetSuite ERP solution. You can be on our marketplace, and that can create network effects. So that's on the SMB space. Coming to the hospitality space, as I mentioned, across 5-star, 4-star, and 3-star hotels, if your solution is catering to an improvement in customer experience, right? Or you're offering payment gateways or wallets or QR code payments, then all these can be kind of cross-sold to our hospitality customers and our food and beverage customers. And these are not small, right? These are not, a single chain like Starbucks or Capco. So these are family groups that own multiple chains, and we could kind of jointly unlock this potential for you. So happy to answer any questions that you may have on Q&A before I hand over to Tariq for walking through how the technology complements these business potential that we offer. Thanks. F&B is food and beverage, David. So yeah, thanks for this slide. Food and beverage outlets. So these could be restaurants, these could be coffee shops, etc., which are tied up with in shopping malls. Just one more thing, guys like you, so who have been there and done that, right? So you can see we are a bit heavy on payments. The reason is payments have huge workloads, and that's where you get the larger benefit that Tariq will explain to you in a few minutes. But you could see large multinational fintechs in this region have expanded with Oracle, be it Jopac, be it BPC, Paymentology, which are payment processors, AsiaPay, Square, Finweg. Now all these have expanded into the Middle East and Africa region with Oracle Cloud. Some of the reasons that they did, and there are also small startups like Maulni, etc., who have also continue the journey with us. Thanks. Over to you, Tariq.
So thank you very much, Gopal, actually, for highlighting, I would say, the our strategy when it comes to the partnership with our fintech customers, like the joint go-to market, or the way that we are partnering with our customers here. So from my side, I want to be like more ticky, because yeah, that's an awesome to be partners with our customers, to support them, to have a kind of joint go-to-market strategy. But in order to host your fintech applications, there is a kind of technically there's a particular point that you want to focus on. You need to make sure that your the cloud provider that you are hosting, where you are hosting your applications, providing those kind of features, security, elasticity, etc. So hopefully this is what I'm going to highlight in this session. I'm going to give a generic overview about Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, features that we are providing, and the unique proposition that we are giving, and then the unique services that we are providing. And please, if you have any question, raise it to the chat, or I can share even, you can reach out to us by email with any additional requirements, or we can either have a separate session to explain, have a deep dive explanation of the cloud service that we're providing. Next slide, please, Gorkan. Yeah, so we all know that nowadays cloud is innovation enabler. Most of the, I would say, organizations, companies that they are looking into digital transformation, they are targeting cloud now. But a cloud is not only a kind of infrastructure that you host your application in, right? Because if we are looking to innovate, we need to have the services that would enable us and makes it easy for us to innovate, to accelerate our business, etc. And when we talk about Oracle, to start with, Like, why would you look at Oracle? Why would you look at Oracle to host your applications? There's a different factors here that plays the, I would say, that makes you decide to go with our cloud, starting from the price and performance. Like, we are well known when it comes to the price. We are almost we provide the lowest price when it comes to the cloud services and the highest performance in compared to any other cloud providers. Looking at the SLAs, business continuity, it's very important. So we are the only vendor who provides availability, manageability, and performance SLAs, and I will explain this in details in the next slides. How do we utilize AI and machine learning to cut the administrative costs, right? So this is a very important point. So that rather than focusing on the mundane jobs or the administrative jobs, we focus on innovation, utilize our resources to innovate. Security, it's very important, even especially for fintech, and to be like aligned with all the regulations. So you are looking at, in order to host your application, you need to make sure that your applications are secured, your data are secured, you are having a 360 view visibility over your setup, you are able to monitor blocking and auditing all the accesses to your application. Deployment flexibility. Can I deploy it? Should I block you with me, like, or can I deploy it on other cloud provider? Can I integrate with other cloud provider? Can I deploy part of my setup on my own cloud and the other part on my premises? So this is very important, because at Oracle we don't block our customers. Our technology is our services are technology agnostic, whereby you can deploy our products or utilize Oracle Cloud, and then if you decided to move part of it to other cloud provider or to your own premise, you can easily do that. And engineering system, definitely we provide you with all the cloud at a customer kind of engineering system, whereby you can have the same experience that we are providing on Oracle Cloud in your data center. And in addition to that, you definitely would need to look at the number of customers, like, because for us, we are the #1 enterprise SaaS provider in the market now, with more than 80 million daily user and 61 billion daily transaction. And it's all hosted on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So before we advise you, or like before telling our customers that move your workloads to the Oracle Cloud, we are hosting our main business on Oracle Cloud. We are hosting our applications, we are hosting our SaaS business on Oracle Cloud, and our customers been using it for the last 8 or 9 years, right? And the way that we handle the purchase, you can easily subscribe with a very clear kind of plan. You can go with a universal credit where you can purchase some credit and then utilize it with all the services that we are providing in the cloud, or you can go with a bring your own license, where there is no monthly commitment or yearly commitment. You will be only paying for what you utilize or what you use. Next slide, Gopal. But in order to be a kind of enterprise grade cloud provider, you need to have the coverage, right? And as mentioned by Gopal, in order to allow you to penetrate to different kind of regions or different kind of country, or expand your business to a different countries, we need to cover all those regions, right? That's why we're having more than 25 different data center across the world. And since we are focusing on the Middle East and I will especially UAE and the KSA, currently we're having a data center in Dubai. We are launching another data center in Dubai for in the next 15-20 days. And again, in Saudi Arabia, we are having a data center in Jeddah, and we are launching the second data center in the next 3 to 4 months. So we cover, from a regional perspective, we cover almost most of the regions around the world, right? So next slide, please, Gautam. So from a regional perspective, as I mentioned, we cover most of the regions. However, to ensure your business continuity, to ensure that you are having a resilience kind of architecture, most of our data centers consist of 3 different regions and independent regions, right? So you can deploy your applications across those different regions, and each region have different fault domains, have 3 fault domains, right? So we are having an availability on the region level, data center level, and on the region level. So you can, by having such an architecture, you can, we can assure you that your application will be available, and you will be having a kind of resilience architecture, and you will achieve the kind of business continuity goal that we are looking at whenever we are planning to deploy to the cloud. Next step, next slide, please. Yeah, by having this kind of architecture, different data centers, different regions, different fault domains, right? We are allowing you easily to expand and meet the regulation, or make sure that your application or your business is running 24/7 by providing this managed disaster recovery cloud service. So you are free to deploy your primary applications or primary site on one region or one data center, and then you can deploy your DR or establish your DR site on another region. And since we are focusing in this session on Saudi and UAE, and to meet the data residency regulation, in UAE we are having the second data center opening in 15 days, so you can easily deploy your primary site and disaster and DR site on the inside the country. Same applies to Saudi, whereby we are having one data center, and the second data center is launching very soon, right? So we are providing you with the resilience, high availability, and business continuity by giving you a kind of a fast track, or I would say a shortened way to establish your DR environment on OCI. Next slide, please, Gorkan. And last, from a networking perspective, we are providing you with a flexible networking services, whereby you can deploy part of your applications on the cloud, have the rest of them on your premises, or on any other Oracle Cloud data center, or on any other cloud provider data center, and we can easily connect to those data centers through VPN, through Fast Connect, or through a private MPLS kind of lines, or private lines, connectivity lines. And one more thing to highlight here, and from a networking perspective, and this is something that makes our offering unique. First of all, you don't pay for ingress. It's totally free. Egress, we provide you with a kind of 10 terabyte of free egress data every month, which will be almost free, and you don't pay for any network service like VPN, gateways, etc. So it's completely free. All those services are completely free, and there is no hidden cost when it comes to the the networking service that we're providing. Next slide, please, Gorkan. Yeah, so I have highlighted, or I have talked about our cloud infrastructure architecture, right? So now let's focus more on the services that we are providing. As I mentioned, Oracle is a complete cloud provider. It's an enterprise scale cloud provider in the market. We spend all the cloud layers, starting from the infrastructure, to the data management, to the DevOps serverless, to the SaaS applications. So we cover all the layers of the, I would say, all the cloud layers. Looking at the infrastructure, we provide all the compute services, containers, cloud native services, all the kind of OS manageability. We provide autonomous Linux, marketplace images. We have a VMware kind of solutions and partnership with VMware, storage, object storage, block storage, archive storage, and from a performance perspective, as I will highlight, we are way better than any other competitor nowadays in the market. And from a networking perspective, we provide all the services like virtual cloud networks, load balancers, gateways, VPNs, fast connect, network clustering, etc. So it's all being highlighted in the infrastructure. And by the way, as I mentioned, this is the layer where we are hosting our SaaS applications. So all our SaaS applications are deployed in our infrastructure environment. And one more thing to highlight, and I will come to it later, is the compute performance as well. We are way better than any other cloud providers when it comes to the compute. And this is something that have been tested, and there is a report that that I can show you in the next slide as well. Moving to the data management, I won't talk much about Oracle database because we are a well-known company when it comes to the data management. We are a leader, definitely a leader from a database. Database will provide a database cloud service on a bare metal. On virtual machines, we provide an Exadata cloud service, NoSQL and MySQL services. However, we have our autonomous database, which is the autonomous data warehouse or autonomous database, which is our, I would say, market leader database that utilize AI and machine learning to drive itself, secure itself, and maintain itself. And I'm going to highlight this in the next slides as well. To the applications, and there's a very important point that was highlighted by Gautam and Gopal. So your applications, you can host your applications on Oracle Cloud, and it won't be working in silos, right? Because we have the integration tools that allows you to connect your applications together, or even connect to any other SaaS application in the market. And we are having all the kind of modern DevOps services, serverless, whereby you can manage events, functions, APIs. From a security perspective, we have all the governance, security, observability features, and DevOps. We have our low-code development tools. You can onboard your development tools as well. We have our developer tools. You can host your developer tools on Oracle OCI, and in order to allow you to accelerate the development cycle, you can easily, in 2 or 5 minutes, spin up your complete infrastructure using infrastructure as a code services that we provide, right? Next slide, Gautam, please. So yeah, from a performance perspective, we provide the fastest bare metal virtual machines, GPU, local storage, block storage databases in the market nowadays. From a bandwidth, we are like, we provide more availability from a bandwidth perspective between other components, and I will highlight this when we talk about security, because it's already also related to the security. There is no over subscription, no noisy neighbors due to the box virtualization technology that we are adopting. Next slide, please, Gautam. I'm concerned a little bit about time. Yeah, so as you can see, and compared to, for example, AWS or other cloud provider, we are way faster when you host Microsoft SQL, Oracle database. From a storage VDI storage perspective, or even from a workload, we are 2 to 5 times faster than any other cloud provider. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is a detailed comparison when it comes to the compute processing and memory block size. So you can see that we are way more than any other from a compute perspective, from a memory perspective, from block storage, than one of our competitors, which is AWS. We are ahead of them. Next slide, please. And from a costing perspective, yeah, we provide a better performance with less price. So this is a comparison between our pricing and, for example, AWS. We are we provide a lower price, like, for example, in compared to AWS US, we are providing a 49% lower price when it comes to the VM, way less price when it comes to the block storage and networking. And there is something unique that only Oracle provides, which is a unified pricing across all our regions, across all our data centers. So it doesn't matter if you're hosting your applications on Jeddah, on US, on Frankfurt. you will have the same prices for all the services that we are providing, which is different than the other cloud providers that they provide different prices based on the data centers, right? Next slide, please. Of the box, press next, please. Just another one more next. Yeah, sorry, go back. Yeah, from a security perspective, security is very crucial when it comes to hosting your application to the cloud, and that's why usually other cloud providers or even our Gen 1 cloud, Oracle Cloud Computing, we were hosting all the IOPS networking on the same hypervisor with the host and the other kernels. However, since this is not the best practice, and this is where what we have done or what we have corrected when it comes to Gen 2, this is something unique only to Oracle from a cloud infrastructure perspective, whereby we are hosting the we are isolating the network IOPS from the OS kernel, so which gives you better security and better performance, because all the network resources won't be utilizing your compute resources, right? So it's from a security perspective, it isolates your applications, your data, and from a performance, it gives you way better performance. Next slide, please. And from so we're providing you with an Oracle Data Safe, CloudGuard, and maximum security zone. For the sake of time, I won't be focusing on those topics. However, I can give way more details in a separate sessions, or I can share the links that explain in details what we mean by data safe, CloudGuard. But it's all about data safe, securing your data, CloudGuard, like being proactive by utilizing AI and machine learning to detect any threat, and security zones, separation of your resources than others, so you won't have any noise from your neighbors. Next, please. And compartments whereby you can group, and this is something unique only to Oracle, whereby you can group your resources from a networking, from a compute, from a databases, past services, and then manage their security, manage the costing over them, which gives you like better visibility on the resources, consumption from a cost perspective, and better security from an accessibility perspective to your resources as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, and from an SLA, and this is something also unique only to Oracle, we provide an SLA on availability, performance, and manageability. Other cloud providers, they provide an SLA based on availability. However, we provide an SLA based on manageability. So it means nothing if you are if your services are available all the time, but you are not able to manage them, scale them up or down. And on a performance perspective, because we are providing a unique performance in compared to other, and we are confident about the level of performance that we are providing to our customers. So that's where we are providing an availability, performance, and manageability SLAs to our customers. Next slide. Yeah, from a pricing perspective, I have highlighted this, but we have the investor credit concept whereby you can buy a credit and consume it in different services. We don't, I would say, link you to a particular service. You buy a pool of credit, and then you can utilize this credit with any cloud service that we are providing on our cloud infrastructure, in our cloud infrastructure portal. And we have two different ways of doing it: either to go with an annual flex, whereby you are having a minimum kind of 1-year term, or you can go with a pay-as-you-go concept, whereby there is no commitment and you pay only for what you utilize. Next slide, please. From a DevOps CICD, since most of the fintech kind of companies nowadays are more into cloud native DevOps, accelerating the development cycle, we provide all the DevOps tools and the CI/CD tools that allows you to achieve this with Oracle. You can utilize, for example, infrastructure as a code. You can go with Ansible, Terraform, source management services. You can go with Git, continuous integrity. You can go with Hudson, Jenkins, or Oracle Cloud Service, testing automation, cloud infrastructure, and either for hosting and monitoring, we are providing the Kubernetes, whereby you can host your containerized or modern containerized application. You can utilize those tools, or you can even bring your own tools and host them to Oracle Cloud, which will accelerate your development, I would say, cycle. Rather than spending months, you can spend weeks in the or days in developing cycle. Next, please. Yeah, so I would skip this slide. We already highlighted this.
Tariq, we are just at 45 minutes, so possibly.
Yeah, I will hand it. Yeah, so the last part, which is the autonomous. This is the last part that I'll be highlighting. Then I will move it to Ansari. Could you please press next? Yeah. So this is the best-in-breed database that we are providing. It is utilizing AI and machine learning to allow Oracle database to self-drive itself. So it can automatically provision, monitor, scale up, down the service based on the utilization of the service itself. It can secure itself by applying the patches automatically with no downtime, encrypt the data automatically, and maximize the availability by self-repairing itself, which gives like 2.5 minutes per month as an SLA for the autonomous database. I'm sorry, yeah, I know I talked like I exceeded my time. I hope you enjoyed the session. I know it was kind of tricky, but hopefully like you gain most of it. And if there's any question, please just share it on chat. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Over to you, Ansari. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you. Bootcamp, can you just move to the last slide so we can just make a wrap? What's next? The next steps.
Yeah.
I think it's after.
Ansar.
No, there's a next step slide.
Ansari, I would suggest you share it from your side.
All right. Just
can you stop sharing, Bootcamp? Yeah.
Okay. I think it was 1 second. Sorry. So while I'm pulling it up, I think we can just get some feedback. If there's any Q&A, that would be nice to hear from you guys. So just to make a wrap, guys, what will be next in terms of next steps? I'm sure you've heard a bit about the Oracle Cloud, and you've heard a bit from Gopal on the go-to-market strategy, how we can work with you. So there are two angles to it. From a platform perspective, what we can do is offer a pre-sales engagement with our technical architects. We can identify areas that can add value to your platform. I'm sure you guys have you are in the process of building, or you already have a platform. And as you look at markets to expand, as you look at growth opportunities, you want a provider that can scale, that can provide you the level of security and the best price option. So we can work with you in looking at different kinds of areas to work on from a technical perspective. Couple of things I'd like to highlight. We can create a pilot environment and agree on a time frame, and then work on that for 30, 60, or 90 days with you. And we'll invest with Oracle in terms of some credits that you guys can use to test, to do some stress testing, to run your application on, and to see the kind of synergies that are available, and to kind of see from a development perspective if that really addresses your requirements and needs. We work on a migration plan with our cloud engineers, and we will offer pre and post sales support. So all of these things are available. Like I said, if you guys have registered offices here, or if you're interested, please reach out to myself, and we can have a one-on-one session with each one of you guys, and see how we can support, add value, and take you forward from here to the next couple of years. I'll just put my alias in the chat so that you guys can note it down, or you can also get that from the FinTech Hype hosts here. So with that, I think we're over time. We'd like to talk a lot. We'd like to still explore areas where things might have been of interest for you guys, and just tap on that. But again, we are available for a one-to-one discussion on areas to explore. And if you guys want more details, feel free to interact with us. I'll just leave my my credentials on the chat, so you can make a note of that. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Over to you, Gorka.